Here is the June 20th edition of Dan Rosen's weekly mailbag, which will run on Wednesdays periodically throughout the off-season. If you have a question, tweet it to @RosenHell and use over the boards. Where does Barry Trotz go now that helps out in Washington? At Stempen92, the New York Islanders are the only team other than the Washington Capitals with a coaching opening, which makes them the obvious candidate to land Trotz. But it's not clear if that's what he wants or if it's what the Islanders want. Ideally, New York will have its coach in place by this weekend, or at the latest early next week, so he can be a part of discussions with pending free agents. At the top of that list is center John Tavares, whom the Islanders obviously would love to re-sign before he can become an unrestricted free agent July the 1st. It'd be even better for New York if it can re-sign Tavares before hiring a coach, because he would be a huge selling point. But that's the chicken or the egg scenario. If I'm Tavares, I want to know who my coach is going to be before I sign. Trotz knows Tavares and has worked with him. They were together with Team Canada at the World Cup of Hockey 2016, when Trotz was an assistant. There are wild cards at play here too, including the potential for Trotz to take some time off to rest and reset. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't have an NHL job at the start of next, but instead waits for a potential mid-season opening or takes the entire off and comes back fresh for 2019-20. Video, Friedman on Trotz's decision to leave Capitals. With the news of Trotz's resignation, who takes over as Capitals coach Todd Reirden? Also, would you try to promote a current assistant rather than hire from the outside? Could that be a factor in John Carlson deciding to re-sign in Washington? At Dolka79, Capitals general manager Brian McClellan has already acknowledged the candidacy of Reirden, who has been with Washington since 2014-15, when Trotz arrived. Reirden was promoted to associate coach prior to the 2016-17 and reportedly was prevented from interviewing for openings to coach elsewhere after last. He has done well with the Capitals' defense and has the respect of the players. It would seem to be a seamless transition to name Reirden coach, but he'd have a tall task next. Washington is going to be coming off a short off-season with a lot of celebrating after winning the Stanley Cup and will have to quickly rediscover its motivation to win again. A slow start can be damaging in a league filled with parity. That said, if McClellan and owner Ted Leonsis believe Reirden is ready for the next step in his coaching career, he should be the coach. It might help in Washington's pitch to re-sign Carlson, who can be an unrestricted free agent July the 1st. But Carlson will want to be paid his market value as a top defenseman. The Capitals want him back, but at what cost? I don't expect Carlson to give Washington a hometown discount. Video, Tom Gulati on Barry Trotz resigning from Washington. Fart your thoughts on the Alex Galchenyuk, Max Domi trade, and do you expect to see any other trades not just for draft picks leading up to the draft? @E_Hodgins like it for the Arizona Coyotes, who got Galchenyuk in this 1-for-1 trade. Skeptical about it for the Montreal Canadiens, who got Domi, who doesn't address the glaring need for a high-end center. Galchenyuk will thrive in Arizona, especially under coach Rick Tocchet, who communicates well with players, especially forwards. Tocchet did wonders with Phil Kessel when he was an assistant with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I expect Tocchet will give Galchenyuk enough of a chance to either figure it out at center or realize he's better suited on the wing. I think he's a better fit at wing, playing with a center like Derek Stepan, who can make plays to let Galchenyuk's skill come out. But it could be that Galchenyuk's future in Arizona is the number 2 center behind Stepan. Domi is skilled enough to be a top 6 wing with the Canadiens, but without a high-end center to play with, I wonder how big an impact he can make on the ice for Montreal, which needs him to score. He scored 9 goals in each of the past 2s, including 4 empty net goals this. He scored 18 goals as a rookie in 2015-16. He needs to score in the 20s, at minimum, for this trade to work for the Canadiens. Off the ice, Domi will make an impact with his enthusiasm and energy. He'll make an impact in the community too, especially through his charitable endeavors to bring awareness to type 1 diabetes, a disease he battles daily. Video, breaking down the Canadiens acquiring Max Domi, which free agents showed the Florida Panthers target to help make them a playoff contender. At Goldman35, the Panthers made noise Tuesday by acquiring forward Mike Hoffman and a 7th-round pick in the 2018 NHL draft in a trade with the San Jose Sharks, by way of the Ottawa Senators, for a 4th and a 5th-round pick in 2018 and a 2nd-round pick in the 2019 NHL draft. Hoffman could work for the Panthers because he fills a need as a top 6 wing who can score. He had 56 points, 22 goals, 34 assists in 82 games with the Senators, this after scoring 61 points, 26 goals, 35 assists in 74 games with Ottawa last, including Hoffman. I think the Panthers are in a good spot and don't have to be too aggressive in free agency. They must be wary of adversely affecting what looks like a promising future with a glut of young and improving players who developed chemistry playing together last. Centers Alexander Barkov, Vincent Trocheck and Nick Bjugstad and forward Jonathan Huberdeau each had his best, and each is 25 or younger. The Panthers gained experience in a push for a Stanley Cup playoff berth until they were eventually eliminated. They're strong in high-end talent and have depth. I could see them going after a bigger forward who can toggle between top 6 and bottom 6. One name to consider is Patrick Maroon. Florida could be enticed by Washington center Jay Beagle and Tampa Bay Lightning left wing Chris Kunitz, culture drivers who are effective in a bottom 6 role. Each can be far on July 1st. The Panthers also might think rookies Owen Tippett, 19 years old, and Henrik Borgstrom, 20, are ready. I think they're set at defenseman and goalie, where I expect Roberto Luongo and James Reimer will again split time. We're patient, we're loyal and we're beyond frustrated. What are some realistic expectations for Buffalo Sabres fans next? When do we see some semblance of progress? At @hot_Carly think your time is coming. I'm not ready to say the wait to get back in the playoffs for the first time since 2011 will end next. That's premature, but there is hope. They should have defenseman Rasmus Dahlin, who is expected to be taken with a number 1 in the 2018 NHL draft on Friday. Jack Eichel is a legit number 1 center, a superstar in the making. Dahlin is supposed to be that too, only on the blue line, which is great for balance in Buffalo. Getting Dahlin means the Sabres have 2 huge positions filled, ideally for the next decade or longer. It could be the equivalent of the Lightning having Steven Stamkos and Victor Hedman, or the Kings with Hans Kopitar and Drew Doughty. Maybe rookie center Casey Mittelstadt will be the 3rd member of what could be a superstar trio in Buffalo. It's what the Sabres do to build around them that will matter most. General manager Jason Botterill needs to find the Sabres' next number 1 goalie. Will center Ryan O'Reilly stay or be traded? Can forward Kyle Okposo be a 20-goal, 60-point player again to live up to his contract? Will center Sam Reinhart build on this when he had 50 points, 25 goals, 25 assists, including 37 points, 18 goals, 19 assists in his final 38 games? How much better will defenseman Rasmus Ristolainen be with Dahlin taking some of his minutes? Those questions and more need answers, but there should be hope and optimism in Buffalo. Do you think the NHL will go back to the 1-2-8 playoff format? To me, it was certainly the best one. At WUPO we don't see it happening anytime soon because the playoff format doesn't appear to be a front-burner issue and, as far as I know, it hasn't been a central topic of conversation at the general managers' meetings in recent years. That's where it would have to start. The GMs, though, do meet in Dallas for a pre-draft session Thursday, so we'll see if it gets any traction.